Okay, so today I'm going to share with you what happens when you have Mars in the 11th house of your birth chart in Vedic astrology, and when Mars in the 11th house is your Arudha Lagna. So, very quickly, what is the Arudha Lagna? So, the Arudha Lagna is something that is found in Vedic astrology. Please don't try and apply this to your Western chart. Your Western chart is when you open the newspaper and you say, I'm born, on this date and this time. That sign, that's the sun sign for the Western astrological system, which is different by 24 degrees. So there's a very good chance that it's going to be different in Vedic. But we use what is called the Lagna, which is the rising sign. We use that as your sign, and that is definitely going to be different in Vedic than in Western, again, because it's off by 24 degrees. The Lagna, your rising sign, is the light that was shining on you from the east, from the star constellations rising in the east, as you hit air, as soon as you entered this world. And that put on a pair of glasses that is going to be colored by whatever the sign is. So my rising sign is Leo, which means that my soul looks at the world through the glasses of Leo. You may have a different rising sign in Vedic, which means you see your world and your karmas unfold through the lens of whatever sign it is that you were born under. That's why we call that your personality. The sun sign is important, but it's not your personality. So, the Lagna means screwed into place. What is the Arudha Lagna? The Arudha Lagna is the mount, the vehicle of the Lagna. So it means the vehicle through which your personality that you see through, for me, I see through the eyeglasses of Leo, is the vehicle through which your personality achieves its success and its fame, especially through career. So knowing the Arudha Lagna is extremely important, because if you don't, you may not realize how you are being represented in the world, how you are being projected. I also call it the projection. Many astrologers call it the reflection. They call it the reflection because we live in this three-dimensional world, which is Maya. It is illusion. It is real. It's not fake. It's real. But it is an illusion. It is a construction. Illusion really isn't the right word, especially nowadays, because we have so many people who are so disconnected from themselves that they can't trust anything, and so they really go overboard in the idea that everything's an illusion. But that's not actually true. Your experiences and your reactions and the things that you do in your soul is very real, but it's based upon this constructed reality. So let me put it to you this way. Let's say you walk into a holodeck, right? A hologram. You know the hologram is a constructed reality, but the people that you interact with are real. And they have real lives, and they have real feelings. And so what you do and what you say to these people will have real effects on them. And then that will be reflected in your soul and in their soul. So just because we call this Maya or illusion doesn't mean it's not real. It means that even though it's a constructed reality, what we do has a very real effect on our soul. So your soul is wearing your whatever sunglasses you're wearing with whatever sign you are, and you are in this constructed reality interacting with real people, real entities, real gods, real energy, real life force, and it is having a real effect on you. So you need to understand what the reflection is of you, and everyone has a different one. If yours is the 11th house with Mars in it, then this is how people see you. Now the thing about the Arudha is it's how people see you whether you like it or not. If you are in conflict, consciously or unconsciously, if you are consciously fighting against your reflection, or if you are unconsciously fighting against it, then that will cause people to want to inhibit your success. So, in order to know how to best get help from others to get success in your career and success in the world, the first thing you need to know is know how you come across to people. So, many times with the Arudha Lagna, there is a karmic ego issue. Your Arudha is not just your vehicle, it's not just your reflection, it's your superpower. It means it's what you have gained through hard work in previous lives, and oftentimes there is an ego imbalance. And so oftentimes people think that they're being humble, and they try and either squash their Arudha unconsciously, or they try and avoid it or minimize it or something. And the reality is that whenever they do that, they are actually squeezing down the light that is coming out of them that blesses others, because your Arudha is your blessing to the world. People see you that way because it helps them. If you try and hide it, they will unconsciously feel that you are trying to keep from them your truth and your gift, and they will resent you and they will try and block your success. They may not even realize it. They'll be like, I don't know what it is about that girl, but there's just something about her I don't like. I can't put my finger on it, but I just don't trust her. Could be because you are simply fighting your Arudha. Now, your Arudha isn't how you see yourself. You have an experience of yourself based on your moon and on your rising sign. You have very strong experience from yourself, so you probably experience yourself from those two placements, but the rest of the world doesn't see that. Now, if you have Mars in the 11th house and it is your Arudha, this is a very powerful Arudha. The 11th house is the house of success that you gain in this life from your hard work in this life. So the 11th house will tell you whether or not you can make yourself into a successful person. The second house is the savings and the assets that you're born into. So if you're born into a rich family, you're going to see that in your second house. If your second house says you're born with nothing, but your 11th house says that you're a captain of industry, it means that you've worked your way from nothing to achieve success. Mars is one of these placements. Mars in the 11th house means the warrior, the general. Now the warrior has become a general. And so what does a general do? The general does follow orders of the commander-in-chief, but the general now has a lot of autonomy and is governing a lot of people and making decisions and coming up with strategies. And the commander-in-chief will defer to the general and say, General, what do you think we should do in this situation? The general will say, hey, Mr. President, I have laid out an attack plan and a defense plan, and we can deploy these, and I've set these up so they're ready to go now. I just need your go-ahead, and I will go ahead and orchestrate the landing. And this is a general. So a general has a lot of authority, but is still a warrior. Mars expends energy. So wherever you see Mars, you're going to see a lot of energy being expended. And so Mars in the 11th house means the general is mobilizing his forces and wants to expend his resources to accomplish his goals. So this is a very powerful sign. The 11th house is the house of networking. So from the 11th house, we see things like social media, the internet, where I'm putting this video on, potentially I could reach everybody in the world who has internet just by me making this. So that's what the 11th house can do. So it's a house of networking. So it's the general in charge of networking. This could be somebody who runs a sales force, like the outreach, the marketing, the social media marketing for a sales force. This could be somebody who becomes a captain of industry and goes and conquers whatever industry they're in. It could just mean that this is somebody who communicates directly and aggressively with their message, whatever it is. So Mars in the 11th house makes it that when you walk in the room, people see you as, oh, this is a person of action who communicates to a lot of people and gets things done. They'll see you as successful because the 11th house is success. Ooh, this is the successful general. They also see you as somebody who is a person of action, who expends a lot of energy going after whatever it is that they're choosing to do in their chosen profession. So what you want to do with the Arudha Lagna, now this is true whether this is your Arudha Lagna or not. But if it's your Aruda, it means it has a spotlight on this. So when you walk in the room, that's how people see you. So let's say you've got a really strong Mars presence. Let's say you have Mars in Aries in the 11th house. That means the moment you walk in the room, people have this, it's like a blast of hot air. You walk in the room and they see you as this person who can completely dominate and control and win and conquer, and that you have power, and so people will want to take orders from you because you're the general coming in. You're somebody that can make things happen. When this is your Aruda, it means this is how they see you. So let's say if it's Aries, right? If Aries is in the 11th house, which would mean you're a Gemini, am I doing this right? 12. So that would mean that you are a Gemini ascendant. So let's say you're a Gemini ascendant, but you have Mars in Aries in the 11th house. You walk in the room, people think you're an Aries, strongly so because you have Mars there. So they're not going to come to you and want you to bring out your Gemini ability to think and examine and communicate. They're going to want you to bring this powerful Mars action who gives orders and conquers lands and communicates directly and forcefully and aggressively to the masses. That's how they see you. So if you've got Moon and Gemini in your first house and you see yourself as this very deeply emotional but intellectual artist and scholar, you walk in the room, they're going to treat you like the general who wants to take over the world. And you're like, why do they treat me like that? I see that in myself, but that's not who I am. Well, you have to get over yourself. This is the whole point of the Aruda. The whole karmic point of the Aruda is not to spend your life trying to get people to see who you are. The whole point of the Aruda is that this is your gift to the world. Let them have that experience. Let them call you general. Say, General so-and-so, and you'll say, yes, I'm here reporting for duty. You do that, you're going to be successful. People are going to want to hire you. You're going to, if you are running your own business, which this is a good placement for, then you will be very successful and people will want to listen to what you have to say. The problem that happens with the Aruda is that there is a karmic attachment. There's some karmic ego attachment to whatever your Aruda is. So if this is your Aruda and you're like uncomfortable with the idea, you're like, I don't want to overpower people. I don't want to be overbearing. I know that sometimes people get intimidated by me and they think that's because you're hiding it. Now that's coming from false humility, which is ego. So you think you're being humble by not being the general, but in reality, you are being very egotistical by pretending to be something that you're not. Here's the downside of it. Your Aruda is either your blessing or your curse. It's your blessing if you open up to the world and show the world what your Aruda is and you play that part. You put on the costume of the general who commands armies and wins business. When you wear that, the power tie and the power suit, whatever that is for you, if you dress like that, people will say, yes, sir, what can I do for you? Yes, sir, I want to hire you for my, whatever it is that your business is. But if you try and come as the sensitive Gemini, they're not going to trust you and they're going to want to block you. And you'll be like, why won't people accept me for who I am? It's because people can't. This is something you need to understand. People very rarely, if ever, see you for who you truly are. So get over that. Allow people to see your gift, allow people to experience your gift, and proudly be that warrior general who takes over the world. If you hide it, then you are actually promoting your own narcissistic ego, and people are going to resent you for that. So if you don't know what your Aruda is, please go to astrology.thunderwizard.com. Right now, I have a 50% off on all astrology readings from now until the 1st of January 2020. And if you want to find out all kinds of other really cool stuff, go and watch the video on that. Subscribe, hit the bell button, and I will talk to you next time. I think next time we're going to talk some other planet. We'll start another planet. All right. Talk to you guys soon.